What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks MLB edition. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. You become a prize whenever great betting content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. I'm actually dead inside. I'm actually not very happy at all because Sandy Alcantara decided to not pitch baseballs today. Well, he did. He just pitched batting practice today. And sometimes in MLB, you're going to look really, really silly. There's times in NBA, late in the season, you're going to look really, really silly. But you got to persevere. It's a 162-game season. We're in it for the long haul. And so I apologize. Again, locks that go that sideways, it's the same thing as a 3-2 loss, but it hurts exponentially more just because I care about giving you the best content that I can. Everything that we saw against him, or against Minnesota last time out, seemed as though the velocity and everything was going to look great. Location got a little off, and yeah, he's never going to be a great strikeout pitcher. Maybe outside of Miami. We'll take a look at things going forward. Definitely, Philadelphia was a weak point for him last year as well, but you know, again, there's just times that you're going to look stupid, and I feel like an idiot today. So we're going to continue on with that vibe. Bet $365. Bet $1. Get yourself $200 in bonus bets. You can't lose with that. Yeah, bet credits right there for you. You simply sign up in one of these 4 states in the video description box below. There's a lovely link. You click on it. And if you're in Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, congratulations. This is live for you. So bet $1, get $200 in bet credits. I'll talk about a little bit later, but I've screwed up enough in my life here. I'm really buckled down. I'm back in the home base, feeling calibrated, feeling ready to go, give you the best information I can to attack this Tuesday slate. Let's get to the picks. In the words of Willow Smith, caught a vibe. Baby, are you coming for the ride? And oh, the ride has been good. If you've been on the Garrett Cole train, that is for darn sure. He's going to be leading the way again on the road, going into Cleveland against Hunter Gaddis, who we got to look into a little bit more here as we're going along. But let's start with Garrett Cole because he's back to his old tricks, back to that elite stuff. Had some circumstances. I think this is something that happened with a lot of pitchers where they had to make a lot of adjustments to the sticky stuff in the post-sticky stuff era, whether it was him, Yu Darvish, certain guys that found lulls, and now they're coming out of it because that's what great pitchers do is they find other ways to be effective. And Garrett Cole, I mean, he's just being effective across the board with a 42.2% K rate through 2 starts, 11.1% walk rate. We could probably trim that down a little bit, but not getting hit hard, 229 xWOBA, back to all the things that we saw last year, towards the tail end of last year. He's so good. Now, this is a Cleveland team that against right-handed pitching is not going to strike out a ton. I don't think that they're going to project out to strike out all that much. You get the switch hitters, you get Stephen Kwan at the top. Stop looking at me, Kwan. That was a Adam Sandler joke. Billy Madison joke. Whatever, you know what, I'm not in the mood either. Garrett Cole is just looking fantastic. And Hunter Gaddis on the other side, interesting that we've had just a 22.2% hard hit rate through 2 starts, but it was in Seattle and in Oakland. Is that going to continue? I mean, not that Cleveland is some extreme hitter's park by any means, but it's better than Seattle and Oakland, so there's at least that. Still, it's coming off the bat really, really soft for some of these players. And I will say, coming off of last year's stint, he had all of 171 pitches at the bigs, got completely tore up with no strikeouts. Good to at least see him be functional with that 22.2% K rate. We'll see. This is a Yankees team. They're kind of good at hitting baseballs hard and far and fast. So I'm going to be leaning the New York side simply due to the lineup and the Garrett Cole on the one side and the unproven factor of Hunter Gaddis on the other. There's not a ton of value to lean out of that. Lean with it, rock with it. If you want to, you can. I'm probably not going to be pulling the trigger unless somehow this number drops to minus 150, and I just don't see that happening. So this game, probably props only, if that. Interesting spot that we have here in Baltimore. It's Kyle Muller on the mound, their opening day starter. He's not all that good. Going up against Grayson Rodriguez, who, it's kind of like Shaq said, I'm not really familiar with the game. But he's pretty good so far. We'll talk about him second, because Kyle Muller, the road team, we start there. 266 expected batting average, not good. Sub 20% K rate, also not good. Lots of not good stuff that we have going here. What does he have going for him, if anything, in Baltimore? It's a lefty. It's another lefty on the mound here, although not exactly going well for J.P. Sears. I have those those jokes, those Sears jokes. We're not going to go there today. Again, not in the mood. Kyle Muller, though, he was kind of a high pedigree prospect once upon a time. Nothing really shows out and flashes to me. That 50% fastball usage is just, it's not a great pitch even. So mid 90s, 93 really topping out at. Not really feeling all that good about him, although he's limited barrels so far in his big league career. Will that continue? I don't know, but got to think that this 2.53 ERA through the first two starts a little bit of an outlier. And now you're going to get some decent Baltimore righties. So we'll pay attention to that. And I think the main reason is Grayson Rodriguez is really the pitcher that I want to be backing here. He's the former 11th pick in 2018. I like what we saw from him in his debut. Nothing all that crazy in terms of the fastball. Also a 50% fastball usage guy. But it's coming in a little bit hotter, a little bit better, and he's limiting some of that exit velocity. Seems like he's going to be an extreme ground ball pitcher at the big league level. If anything that we saw back in the day for him is any somewhat evident. I just got to think Grayson Rodriguez is going to be that pedigree guy in Baltimore. They're going to give him another shot here at the rotation. They need somebody in this starting rotation. Don't know how many times I can say it on these programs. Baltimore, that's what you're missing. And they know it. They know it. At least behind the dish, they've got a guy who can call a pretty good game. That's for darn sure. You got Adley Rutschman hitting 389 this year with 2 homers already. I like what we're seeing from him. It's normally what you see out of number 1 picks. But I'm going to be leaning and liking the Baltimore money line here. Very small play from the get-go. Hard to imagine a situation where Kyle Muller is going to be successful long-term. And that being said, Oakland's lineup, as bad as it really gets, but minus 155, nothing crazy. But I could see this being a couple points higher. If this gets into that minus 165, minus 170 territory, go ahead and stay away. Wait for a nicer day. I just may. What do you say? Hey, next game. Houston is absolutely putting the hurting on Pittsburgh here right now. Poor Roansy Contreras. Are we going to get our home run, though? We got Yordan Alvarez up there. Kyle Tucker's 2 for 3 on the day, but no homers yet. To get walked there. They're up 8-2. It's beautiful stuff. If I would have bet it. Why didn't I bet it? What a time to be alive. Let's rectify that problem, shall we? Mitch Keller on the mound going up against Christian Javier. And Mitch Keller rhymes with Old Yeller. You assume with that what you will. But Mitch Keller for the season really overachieving thus far. But it was an outing against Cincinnati and then Boston. 100 and 107 pitches. The ground balls have been nice to see. The Ks have been nice to see. 8 and 7 out of him here. But you know what this is? This is a serviceable Houston lineup with a lot of lefty power, specifically Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. Got to give them their shout outs. They're due every single time that I end up talking about baseball because I just love them that much. I wish they didn't play on a team like Houston, but we're going to cheer for them today with Christian Javier on the mound. Also a guy that had a really rough first outing here. A lot of studs that had a rough get-go, whether it was, well, I guess it was the second time out for Scherzer. You had the first outing out for Jacob deGrom. It's early in the season. We're accumulating sample size. Guys are just getting back into the rhythm. And Christian Javier, I'm willing to overlook that first outing against the White Sox. And against Detroit, I'm not going to learn a whole heck of a lot either. 5 Ks, just 1 earned run in 6 innings. 99 pitches is nice, and that's kind of, for me, what I'm taking away. But I hope he would be able to succeed against Detroit. But you know who looks a lot like Detroit? Pittsburgh. Without O'Neal Cruz, who, yes, he fractured his ankle, going to be out for a long time. That is a huge lefty bat that's going to be absent from this lineup going forward. And G-Man Choi, he can create a couple of issues for righties. But Christian Javier, going to be able to succeed as long as he gets by Brian Reynolds, I believe. So it's kind of a straightforward play for me. This number shouldn't be even money. Minus 1.5 shouldn't be even money. It just shouldn't be. So we're going to lock it. Yeah, Houston, we're going to be locking it. The better lineup. I expect them to continue on their way. Kind of wild to see that Houston, 5-6. Pittsburgh, going to be 6-4 at the end of this one. Just telling you, that's a pretty wild phenomenon that we're looking at here for Houston. Rough out of the gate, but they're going to turn on the Jets. They always do. The Tampa two-step is up next here, and one of old trustees on the old Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks, Shane McClanahan going up against Garrett Whitlock, who I actually had to pull up some of his splits. We haven't seen him yet this year, had a hip issue at the end of last year. This will be his first start, and nothing was all that impressive when you go back through and you look at his ZiPS projection, which you can find on fangraphs.com. Always be looking up at what other intelligent people might be projecting certain pitchers to be long-term. Now, the Ks look a little bit interesting. 9.25 K per 9. I don't usually go through K per 9. Not that it matters. It's the same thing. I like seeing the percentages. It's how my brain works. But just a 1.6 WAR, wins above replacement, projected for the 2023 season. Looks as though he's just walking too many batters. Looks as though he's going to have a couple of issues in terms of the home run department, averaging nearly a home run per 9. Not sure what to make of him. Really, really not sure what to make of it, but that's kind of what happens when somebody hasn't pitched in a while. He's an unheralded rookie. Well, not rookie from this year, from 2 years ago. He's not even close to a rookie, but that's what I'm getting at. Is Garrett Whitlock not really a known entity coming into the 2023 season? Not sure what they're going to get out of him here, but I'm pretty sure we know what we're going to get out of Shane McClanahan. The same crap we've been getting the first two outings. Was it against Detroit and Washington? Yes. But Adam Duvall, I told you, be paying attention to that kind of news, because Adam Duvall came out of the gates torching lefties. 455 average, 4 homers, 14 ribbies, 514 OPS. He's on the 10-day IL. A distal radius fracture of the left wrist. That seems bad to me. Doesn't seem like something you're going to be able to play baseball through. That's why he's on the 10-day IL. So he won't be out in that lineup. And I don't really like this Boston team outside of Fenway to be putting up runs against lefties. You're going to see this matchup. I think they get Jeffrey Springs there on Wednesday. Best of luck. We're going to target him twice, pretty sure. But we're going to actually be targeting the under, because right now, I'm feeling a little bit better about that one. I'm going to be leaning on it here along with Tampa Bay. I'm not sure which one I want to call my best bet at the moment. I think the Rays plus 135 on the run line might be an intriguing little spot, but I love the profile of Shane McClanahan. Really think he could end up coming out and blanking the Red Sox here. Yeah, you heard me. This Rays team in full effect right now. You don't want to be screwing with them. Might be trying to get really, really aggressive with this game, but I'm still kind of making my decisions up here. So we're going to lean the under of 7.5. I like doing this because it makes people actually have to listen and not just, tag what it is coming in there. But under 7.5 runs, we're going to fire that one up. If we can get a better number on this, can we get it north of plus 140 on the run line for Tampa? Combine the two. Again, they're just going to keep winning baseball games. Boston, what are they going to do against lefties without Duvall? Absolutely nothing. Let's march on. We've reached the point of the program I have been looking forward to the least. Go ahead. Let me have it. Sandy Alcantara. What am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to keep working. You put your head down, you get back to work, and here you go. Jesus Luzardo facing Aaron Nola. Two pitchers that I really like here. And Jesus Luzardo, again, a benefit for sure of being able to pitch in that massive ballpark down in Miami that just keeps runs in. But those Ks have been just litty no matter what. 5 Ks, 10 Ks against Minnesota there. Off to a phenomenal start. Just 1 earned run through 12 2/3. Hard to say anything negative about Jesus Luzardo. It's kind of strange to say that Aaron Nola is the one that we have to say negative things about so far, but those are 2 road starts in Texas, then against the Yankees. You know who's going to struggle against Texas and the Yankees? A lot of teams that improved Texas lineup, especially at the top. Marcus Semien, after his abysmal first half of 2022, has come on strong the second half of 2022, beginning of 2023. Corey Seager went yard again. He's going to be very, very good. So anyway, Texas, Yankees, you know the spiel about the Yankees, so we don't even need to go down that. But the main thing I want to point out, 62 of 87 pitches as strikes against that Yankee squad. Saw some location come back for him. Would like to see the strikeouts come back for him a little bit. 4 and 5 the first 2. Need to ramp that up for an elite pitcher like Aaron Nola, no doubt about it. But that's where Miami comes in store for us, because they are just not all that good at hitting in general. Do they have some lefties that can cause a little bit of ruckus? Well, it's not really going to call it a ruckus when it's Luis Arraez. He's going to hit for average, no doubt about it. That's just who he's profiling out to be. But there are some strikeouts to be had here. Jacob Stallings catching today on Monday. Don't know if we get him, if we get somebody else in there. I bet it's him. Brian De La Cruz would be the other guy that I'm looking at, 30.8% K rate. Jazz Chisholm, 35.1% in the early going of the season. Nick Fortes would be the other catcher, 36.4% strikeout rate for him. That is a lot of guys in this lineup, 25% plus K rates already this season, and I don't see that slowing down. So outside of Araz and Gurriel, who are two guys who truly do not strike out in any way, shape, or form, I think Aaron Nola is going to find strikeouts 4 through 9 in that lineup pretty much repeatedly, as long as we saw that same velocity we saw last time out. I think an under might be in play in this one, but Philly money line is actually my preferred side. Just went after Alcantara. I feel dumb. Now Miami's going to win 13-0. This whole spot, come on. You know what? Demons be gone. Next game. This is kind of a fun one for me. Matt Manning and the Detroit Tigers taking on Alek Manoah. Kind of a strange pitching profile for Matt Manning, if we're going to be honest. I think towards the tail end of last year, there were times we were backing Matt Manning at massive plus money, but those were against the likes of the Kansas City Royals, of the Minnesota Twins once they had kind of given up on the season towards the end of the year. Lots of spots in the AL Central where Matt Manning can be competitive. But with this new schedule, you're going to see some pitchers and some matchups that are going to be very uncomfortable. You can't just hold down the fort in the AL Central by beating up on each other there and expect good things to happen. So, yeah, Matt Manning, best of luck here in Toronto. Canada, ready to ring in the new baseball season right here. You're seeing plus 2.5 money to be backing Detroit. Whew, woof. It's pretty wild. And Alek Manoah, I think we got to kind of look at him as a guy who's never going to have the strikeout stuff of other aces. He's just not that guy at all. Will never really be above a 25, 26% strikeout artist, but he's always going to be competitive. That's going to be his profile. Really rough start to his season there in St. Louis, then on the road in Kansas City, but going back into Toronto, facing a Detroit lineup that you want to talk about extra strikeouts in it. They're everywhere in Detroit's going forward based on 2022 numbers. So I think this is a pretty clear-cut spot where if you wanted to back somebody, you'd go Toronto, but minus 265, not all that appealing. So I'm leaning the under here. I think we could find something for Matt Manning. We could maybe, I'm trying to talk myself into backing Matt Manning again. It's tough. It's tough. Former top 10 pick, though. He has the pedigree. I just don't think he has the pitch mix. That four-seamer, the slider, nothing is all that competitive to me when you're facing a real big league club, not an AL Central ball club like the Toronto Blue Jays. We're running back Padres and Mets for another round this spot. And a pretty interesting grouping of lefties here. Ryan Weathers on the mound for San Diego. Southpaw David Peterson on the mound for the Mets. Struggling like everybody for the Mets, although they're up 2-0 here in the early going. Of course, I bet San Diego, so looking for that money line W. That would be great, but Ryan Weathers, pretty small sample size. We just have the one outing for him here. He's basically filling in until Joe Musgrove gets himself back. Don't drop weights on your foot, friends. Google it. What a weird injury, but Ryan Weathers, not all that impressive. I think this Mets team should be able to find some way to be successful, but David Peterson's the one that I'm the most concerned about here so far. After a really good last season, we saw 5 walks against Milwaukee, and yeah, both of his starts have been on the road. This will be his first one there in New York, but this is a really good San Diego lineup on the other side, and you know, you're going to neutralize some of the lefties that have been successful for the most part. Trent Grisham, Matt Carpenter won't probably even be in this lineup, but you still get a lot of righties. You're getting close. I mean, if Fernando Tatis was going to be active for this one, we could really have a conversation. But I think plus 1.5 is where I'm leaning here. Nothing's all that appealing in this game. This might be a prop du jour spot. If you can get David Peterson to walk the likes of a Juan Soto, a Trent Grisham, maybe you could find a hit in a bag kind of situation. Single game parlay season, but overall, plus 1.5, about all I'd be looking at in terms of outrights here. This was a tougher one to break down, but I did the digging for you. I found the starter for Tuesday. It's not listed anywhere. It's going to be Kyle Wright. He came back to the ball club on Sunday. He had a shoulder issue towards the end of last year. He ended up having a start in AAA. Didn't look very good. 5 earned. Did cover 6 innings in that. 84 total pitches. There you go. Had to do the digging for the people and find out exactly what's going on the Atlanta side. We know what we're going to be getting here from Cincinnati. It's Luis Cessa, used to be formerly in the Yankees system. I don't find him to be all that appealing of a pitcher, although his first outing wasn't terrible by any means. 5 1/3, only 2 earned runs given up, ground balls galore, 8 of those, but just 2 Ks. Never going to be a strikeout guy. Kind of want to be a strikeout guy, although you're going to find some freebies in Atlanta, but if you can't strike out Atlanta, you're going to run into bats, and that's where it gets a little bit problematic for me. Matt Olson, I got to expect his home run number to be a little bit off here. Anytime he's facing a righty, it's going to be inside of plus 300. If it's not, go ahead and bet this because you're looking at a 9 total, and I think that's about appropriate, although I'm leaning a little bit on the over here. I don't know what we're going to get out of Kyle Wright, but I've never been all that impressed with him as a pitcher. I get it. Does he have the pedigree? Sure. He was a top 5 pick back in 2017. Everything about him screamed was going to make it there in the bigs, but found a really, really rough start to his career. 2018, 2021 was just abysmal. He's never really had the strikeout stuff at this level. He found ways to be effective last year with a 3.89 expected ERA and just a 3.19 ERA. But I can't tell you enough how I don't think his big league, it's just not going to translate into strikeouts. And that's kind of an issue with some decent lefties. You get the Friedel, the combination of Cincy. I want to target Cincinnati with lefties. That is for darn sure. I don't know why I keep saying for darn sure on these shows. I got to stop it. Just like I got to stop talking about this game. Just over 9. That's where I'm leaning here. Unless somehow Matt Olson, could he have a home run prop north of plus 300? We'll find out. We'll find out. My Minnesota Twins here taking on the White Sox yet again. Pablo Lopez. Ho, 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 my friend. 2 road starts, 2 smashes. Absolute smashes that we saw out of him. He didn't even get tagged with the loss in that 7-inning special. Lost 2-5 to the Miami Marlins last time out. Kansas City looked unbelievable there, but 85, 88 pitches. I'm expecting 90-ish. Assuming everything goes well here for Pablo Lopez. And this White Sox lineup could look very watered down tomorrow. You have an injury to Tim Anderson that you're going to have to monitor coming into tomorrow. He left Monday's game a little bit early. It was some kind of knee soreness, is what Twitter.com told me. And Twitter.com never lies. Yohan Moncada, we're still waiting for him to get back. It's going to be a really watered down White Sox lineup. And that's where I just want to be firing a money line play on them as soon as you hear this, because I expect this number to move. It's at minus 135 right now. I think it's going to be moving north of that. And Lance Lynn is kind of the reason why. Do I think we've seen the best of Lance Lynn? He kind of did this same stuff last year, where he needed some time to ramp up. And apparently he was sick in his last outing. I would say that I was sick too if I gave up infinity runs to the Giants. They had, 3 homers against him, 8 earned runs, 16 total runs there for the Giants. They had glorified batting practice, and it's just funny to watch. But Lance Lynn, I expect him to be better than that going forward, but I still, show it to me, dude, because Pablo Lopez has started showing it to us. So, his first outing here in Minnesota, expect good things. Minnesota, I like it, especially if you don't have Tim Anderson in that lineup tomorrow. Pretty quick game to discuss here. We've got the Cubbies hosting Seattle. You got Hayden Wesneski showing up here for the Cubbies, going up against Chris Flexen. And Chris Flexen does not stay flexing in his candy paint, rolling dank, sipping drink on an 84 swing, tearing up the lane. He's not very good. He throws the ball very soft. He's constantly going to get hit up against righties. This is an improved Cubs lineup. He has a 13.5% K rate and a 13.5% walk rate. Identical numbers in those 2 departments are not good. He's never had over a 17% K rate his entire Major League Baseball career. He found ways to be effective, partially because of the ballpark. You pitch to the ballpark you're in. I'll say that until I'm dead. 3.73 ERA last year. Good for you. You still had a 4.62 expected ERA. If you pitched anywhere else, you'd be in trouble. And yeah, just like I talked about Mike Jones. Mike Jones? That's who I wanted to talk about. Hayden Wesneski might be that dude going forward. Not a great first outing going up against Cincinnati. 4 2/3, 3 earned, 2 homers right out of the gate. But that's Great American Small Park. Wrigley Field. Looks like the weather's pretty neutralized. I'm a little surprised to be seeing 9.5 hung up here. However, I would be leaning towards the Chicago Cubs. Money line here. Maybe it's a combination play. Maybe I go half unit on the under, half unit with the Cubbies as well. Because Hayden Wesneski, really good sample size that we had from him last year. Well, not a good sample size, really good stuff that we saw out of him in a limited sample size. I should learn the English language and how to utilize it better. 2.18 expected ERA and 495 pitches, 89 batted ball events, 2.18 ERA. That's the identical number. Look at me saying things. This year, I expect something to regress in terms of that. It just has to, but I really like the four-seamer. I like the sweeper pitch that he kind of mixes in. That thing has extended movement. I'm pretty excited to be backing him in some of these spots coming up, but I expect this number could also move. People like that Seattle lineup. We'll see. God, now I want to bet this. Might be talking myself into a play here, but Chicago money line. This is the most like-ish lean that I have on the board. To my most lock-ish lock on the board here, we have the Texas Rangers with one, the only, Jacob deGrom on the mound here, going up against somebody I like to target a lot from last year, Jordan Lyles. Jordan Lyles, whether it was, he's been with Baltimore, the Royals, Houston Astros drafted him once upon a time. I don't know why I know that, but a 314 expected batting average, 534 expected slugging so far this year. Never going to get strikeouts. He has 22.9% so far this season, but that would be a high point for him. The last three, he's at under a 20% K rate. So many interesting portions. 4.94 expected ERA last year, 4.42 ERA. I love when negative regression is in store for somebody. When you'll have a low 90s fastball, and I like the Texas Rangers lineup a lot more this year than I have in years past. I think it's looking problematic. I'm going to be targeting Jordan Lyles, and why not with my guy, Jacob deGrom here on the mound. He had that really brutal first outing. We all saw it against Philadelphia. But that's a thing of the past after the velocity ticked right back up. Tick, 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 tick. Faced Baltimore, just shut him down. 6 innings, 11 Ks. It's Jacob deGrom here. He's going to just smash. He's going to smash. It just is what it is. He's the best pitcher alive. Yeah. Does he have a 5? This is why small sample sizes are so stupid. 2 starts, 5.59 ERA, still a 1.03 whip, got BABIP to death against Philadelphia. And by BABIP, I mean batting average of balls in play. That's BABIP. Want to teach you some of the stats as we're going along here too. Basically tells you, oh my goodness, it's just getting unlucky. He's getting very unlucky. So this is the absolute smash portion of the program. Jacob deGrom, I'm getting at just minus 120 on the run line here at a spot that I expect Texas to be able to put up runs against Lyles and give up no runs behind the best pitcher alive. Lock. That's what it's called. It's called the lock. Minus 1.5. Texas Rangers, my favorite play on the board for Tuesday. Hopefully they look better than some of my plays on. There will be a day that Bet365 no longer has this offer, and I will rejoice because I will never have to see this picture again. But the 4 of you, we're talking 4 states, not 4 people. 4 states, Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. Those 4 states, you will be sad because this offer will be gone. It's the easiest thing to take advantage of ever. You simply go to the video description box below, click on that link, deposit $10 or more at Bet365, bet $1 on anything, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. $10 that you're going to deposit, bet one of them, and get $200 in bonus bets, no strings attached. It'll hit your account instantly. So many people have taken advantage of this. There's so little time left, though, to be able to do this. So if you're hearing this in Colorado, New Jersey, Virginia, or Ohio, yes, producer Daryl counting along with me because he knows those are the 4 states. You bet $1, get $200 in bonus bets. That is all. Do not pass go. Do collect $200. It's only if you're 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, y'all, back to the picks. Bartender, make it a Coors. Yeah, we're going to Colorado here. They're going to be hosting the Cardinals. You got Kyle Freeland on the mound, going the southpaw, going up against Miles Mikolas. And boy, has Miles Mikolas been bad. 19 hits through 2 outings seems terrible. Bet they're glad they gave him 2 years, $40 million contract extension. You know what you could get for $40 million? Apparently a 9.64 ERA, 0-1 record, just 12 strikeouts at a 2.14 whip. Oops. Maybe shave the mustache, I don't know. Kind of looks like Luigi. It's like Mario and Luigi together in his picture. I bet you're going to Google that now. But let's talk Kyle Freeland, because I think this is where the conversation needs to be led. He's not very good. He never really has been. He's been awesome this year, though. No earned runs now through 2 starts, but San Diego on the road. We backed him there. 4-1 win. That was lovely. Great home road splits, but in the opposite direction that you would expect. At home, he has been terrible. Over a 6 ERA over the course of 2022. Less than 3.5 on the road in 2022. This one's at home, so just throwing it out there. Oh, and he's facing Paul Goldschmidt, who had the highest WRC plus in all of baseball against left-handed pitching last year. I've been giving you a lot of leans on these homers. They've generally gone pretty well. Let's check in on Kyle Tucker. How do you do? He lined into a double play in the 7th inning. Gosh darn it. I want that homer so bad. I don't think he's going to get back up in this game. He's definitely not going to get back up in this game, but we can go Paul Goldschmidt. We're going to be leaning his home run. He's just going to mash lefties into oblivion from now until the end of time. I'd be very curious to see what his 1.5 total bases is going to be tomorrow as well. Maybe combining the 2, having a small play on each. I have that going tonight. Brandon Drury, Hunter Renfroe. Can the Angels just murder Patrick Corbin and save my night? That game hasn't started yet, but as soon as I'm off, I'm going to go watch that and pray to the gambling gods. So, Paul Goldschmidt, home run. That's the lean, but probably going to make the card if it's not inside of plus 230. Speaking about the game that I'm not yet watching, but will be covering 24 hours from now, pretty interesting spot here. Josiah Gray, Mr. Curveball himself, thanks 102 pitches, 6 strikeouts in Colorado, despite being a primary curveball pitcher. It's pretty interesting to me. He does have the strikeout stuff. That is not going to be debatable here. Going into LA, though, you got some home run power up and down that lineup. Pretty decent ballpark for power. I think not enough people understand Angel Stadium. You can definitely hit it out of that park easier. They lowered the line out to right, so going to be better for lefties out there. Josiah Gray gives up lots of lefty power. Problem is it's Jake Lamb, other than Shohei Ohtani, who's very good. But Jake Lamb is probably your second best lefty. Luis Renefo, not the best on the other side of that one. I don't really know what to say. I mean, Josiah Gray, he's going to find ways to be effective. But Luis Renefo, switch hitter, just wanted to at least throw him out. Another lefty in the lineup. Josiah Gray should still be giving up some righty power too. But good for him. Good for him. Glad he found those strikeouts. Won't be taking his under 4.5 in Coors Field again. Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely would have done that again. But looking at the Angel side of this one, oh, yeah, Shohei Ohtani's pitching. He seems pretty good at baseball and just picking up where he left off, I don't know, as the best player in the history of humanity. I just love everything about him. You should love everything about him. He's the best player in the world and probably the most special prospect we're ever going to see play. And he heroed out for us the 2 strikeouts last time around to get to the 8K mark, 111 pitches. No idea why the Angels decided to let him do that. He did pitch in the World Baseball Classic and ramped it up there. That last out against Mike Trout is still so legendary, but 111 pitches is pretty wild to see right from the get-go. He's already slashing, 333, 436, 667, so expect him to do successful things against Gray. I expect him to also be able to pitch the ball very well because that's what he does. That splitter is the filthiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But I don't really know if there's anything I want to do here outside of backing Ohtani with an under. And maybe Josiah Gray's figured out some things with this curveball, can limit some limit some of the fly balls here. He's kept the ball under a 10-degree average launch angle now through 2 starts. That's kind of impressive to me because in the past, that thing was going up, 19.7 degree and 22.1 degree average launch angle in 2022 and 21 respectively. So if he's found a way to get more ground balls in addition to his K rate, which is going to be 23% plus, I think, come season end, I think the under. That's where I'm kind of leaning here. Got to talk myself into it. And plus, 15 games, every team in play. Don't want to be betting everything, but this is one to strongly consider. We've got 2 games left to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me. As we go to Merrill Kelly, Corbin Burns facing off in this one. This game kind of terrifies me. Merrill Kelly, a guy that I've been backing, it feels like for the last year and a half or so. I guess can't consider this half year, but I'm talking 2020, 2021. Yeah, Merrill Kelly's been a guy that just is an effective baseball pitcher And you're getting some inflated odds generally when you're backing him. But this is a very strange situation because the guy in Corbin Burnes on the other side, we're talking former Cy Young, Corbin Burnes, has had the most abysmal start out of any stud pitcher. I'm not going to count Miles Michaelis amongst them. Somebody else can. But Corbin Burnes, this guy won a Cy Young 2 years ago. He's now only gone 9 1/3 innings in his first 2 starts with just 6 strikeouts and 10 earned runs. Now, it was against the Cubs, improved lineup there. Against the Mets, that's understandable. I think that lineup's going to be better and better as the season goes on. But those are some alarming type numbers, and it's strange to not see the strikeouts there. It's strange to see him get behind in certain spots where he just always seemed to thrive. 2 homers there in that Mets spot, but early sample size, I don't want to be pulling the trigger yet. Like, if you told me Corbin Burnes at the beginning of the season was minus 141 against Arizona, I would be slamming my money down and winding it all around Spice Girls style. So, just want to say, pay attention to this one. I'm going to be watching very closely to both pitchers, specifically Corbin Burnes, but I can't pull the trigger for some reason. Milwaukee, minus 141. This is one of those things where Corbin Burnes, days of yore, you'd really be finding value at this money line, but I don't see it right now. I want to see improvement. This is a long season. No reason to be trying to force a bet in here, especially Arizona. They've got some speed on the base paths. They've got some decent lefties. Rojas probably going to be leading off here in this spot. Some of these righties, Evan Longoria off to a hot beginning of the season as well, hitting over 400, 2 homers, doing all the things. I'm going to lean towards the Milwaukee money line still here. I'd like to see Jesse Winker back in that lineup after being out on Monday. Just think it was a due maintenance day for him. You're going to get Garrett Mitchell continuing to do his things. I don't know why I can't do it. Milwaukee money line, that's what I'm thinking about. Will not be the Arizona side on my guy Kelly. And our last game of the night, finishing up the same way we did last night. We got the Dodgers heading into San Francisco for round 2. Alex Wood, former LA Dodger there on the mound for San Francisco. And Dustin May, who, holy mother of God, his stuff is probably... I said this at the beginning of the season, and yet somehow, some way, the numbers have made me go opposite Dustin May in the first 2 starts. I'm not going to be making that mistake for a third time. Now, we got lucky against Arizona, a 2-1 result that went our way in that first outing, even though Dustin May's stuff completely filthy. Only 9 strikeouts through 2 outings, but we're seeing 84, 83 pitches the first 2, so he's getting the allotment you'd expect, but just 5 hits given up with 15 ground balls. If that continues in a ballpark like San Francisco, you're going to see some success. The only reason that I'm not going to go crazy and lock this one, going up against Alex Wood, who I just don't really believe in at this stage of his career, is because there's enough lefty power here where I think Dustin May, this might be the true figure out if he's really got it kind of situation. Both of his first 2 outings against Arizona, more muted, not as good of a lineup as you're going to look at the top end, especially against righties, just because of all that lefty power that you get. Not Stremski, even though he's had a pretty decent beginning of this season, but Michael Conforto, Lamont Wade Jr., you get Jock Peterson now playing first base for San Francisco. It's a lot of lefty power at the top. So Dustin May, keep the ball on the ground, should be a pretty easy walk in the park for him, but if he doesn't, it's enough where it could be problematic. But Alex Wood is just so bad at this stage of his career that I have to be taking these shots. He's going to allow over a 300 expected batting average from here the rest of the way. Zips has no faith in him whatsoever on Fangraphs. He's had an 11.1% walk rate, which is kind of uncharacteristic for him here, but coming off a season last year with a 5.10 ERA, 4.00 expected ERA, so a little bit unlucky in that department. Not really liking the pitch mix of a sinker-slider combo with the changeup. You need some velocity, you need some strikeout stuff to get by this Dodgers lineup, even in a pitcher's park like this. That's why you're seeing the 8 total. But Dustin May gets it done for us to round out the evening. Money line, like it, Dodgers. Let's get out of here. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite plays for Tuesday's slate are. Every team in play. Lots of opportunity to be betting, like at Bet365. Don't forget to check it out if you're in one of these 4 states by signing up at the link below: Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. Alrighty, y'all, I'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Tuesday.